edition of Jofo in the Ring. And yes, my name is Frank Jofo, and I am off the boats, back in studio, back in Montreal, back in the Rich Life studio. Here on Jofo in the Ring, we are dedicated to showcase the very best independent wrestlers around the world. And we got another one. His name is PJ Savage. Let's get into the action, baby. So here we have PJ Savage, and it's PJ Savage. Honestly, I recognized you on Instagram because everyone calls me a savage. So when I saw your Instagram handle, I go, I gotta talk to this guy. I gotta interact with this guy. And how did the whole if you want to tell the fans if that is your real name or if that's your wrestling name, how did it come about, PJ Savage?
So that is my wrestling name. It's what I've been going by for the past about 3 years now.
Okay.
I've been wrestling for 5 years.
Cool.
So my real name is PJ Melly.
Okay.
That's what I first started wrestling under too. Also with Johnny Rodz, it's a little bit weird. You can't have your own name. He has to name you.
Oh,
you
really?
Go through him. Yeah, we'll definitely get into that.
Okay.
But so backstage with the boys and stuff, everybody used to call me a savage. The way I would just do things. So it was, whether it's from like lifting weights, just learning new things in the ring, or hanging out, just going to a bar, having a couple drinks, and everybody just
You're kind of describing me in a little way there, because you know what? I think savages know each other, so you know I can tell. Continue.
It's definitely a way of life. Savage is definitely a way of life. It finds us. We don't find savage.
Oh man. So where are you from?
Currently I've lived all my life in New York, in Manhattan.
In New York, in Manhattan. Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I lived a little bit in Tampa at one point in my life.
Okay.
But I'm based out of New York. Been here my whole life. I live in Manhattan.
Okay. And the independent scene in New York, is it still going right now during this pandemic? Because I know here in Canada, especially here in Montreal, where I'm from, everything is closed down. Everything, gyms, stores, everything. Wrestling is non-existent in Montreal.
Yeah.
But I see, because I follow the Dirty Heels, and they've been programming some great content on their YouTube page, and they've gone to shows in New York as well. So can you tell us a little bit about the independent scene in New York?
The pandemic killed the Northeast.
It's crazy.
Like I'm sure it did every other region.
Oh, yeah.
But especially New York. So like I would say about the first 6 months during the pandemic, there was nothing. Everything was quiet. There was no shows anywhere. Towards the end of the year, around December, November, a few shows started to pop up around New York. So like Pennsylvania and New Jersey were like hotbeds. There would be 1 or 2 shows here, and then guys started to do their weekly shows. So like they'll have their little gym and do their little weekly shows, put it up on
fans
YouTube.
or like
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how things got started. And I would say right now it's kind of in the startup where everybody's talking to everybody, and it's kind of like aiming towards April, May, June for things to.
Everyone's starting to get the excitement of it coming back eventually.
Yeah.
So it's coming closer and closer. Okay.
Yeah, and I feel like it's more about us forcing it.
Yeah.
We're tired of waiting. I mean, I felt like in 2019 I was hitting a stride. And I was starting to get some recognition. I was talking to a lot of people. And then, of course, 2020 hit, and my life in professional wrestling basically got cut off and put on hold. So it was one of the toughest things. And I'm sure every independent guy has felt it. And so it's right now we're in a point of I'm tired of waiting, and I'm going to push this. And it's going to happen whether they let me do it or not.
Well, with the Savage moniker, I can guarantee you that you're going to be going somewhere. That's for sure. Continue on the way you're going right now. You said that you got trained by the WWE Hall of Famer Johnny Rodz. So can you tell us a little bit about Johnny Rodz? Because just in case the fans don't know who he is, because he is a great wrestler from back in the day, and I know that he fought Bob Backlund, and he was a legend in the professional wrestling world in the past. So can you tell us a little bit about him?
Definitely. With all due respect to every trainer out there, Johnny Rodz is the best to do it. He's He's one of a kind. That man is the Yoda of professional wrestling. He is a sensei. He teaches discipline. He teaches the foundations of building a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And about 5 years ago, I wanted to start wrestling when I was around 22, 23. And then I had my second child, my son Abel, my firstborn, so I really couldn't get into it. So after my son was about 2 years old, I was like, hey, yeah, I think it's enough for me to get into it. And I started looking into schools. And being in New York, if you want to be a wrestler, you always hear about Johnny Rodz. You always,
Okay.
it's in the back of your mind, like the thing you hear about before you get into it is he's the guy that trained all the ECW guys. He's the guy that trained.
He's got a long list. I've seen Taz.
Yeah.
I've seen Tommy Dreamer, Striker. I've seen as well. I'm sure there's a long list of guys that I probably didn't see, but just the core guys right there. Those are name brands right now in professional wrestling right now. Like Taz is killing it in AEW right now, and I'm sure there's a lot of thanks to Johnny Rodz for that. So.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of guys. Devon's a producer up in WWE right now. These guys, Johnny created the legacy guys. And he tells you that once you step into his office, he's not here to train weekend warriors, so to speak, in Johnny's mind. Like he wants to train the top of the top. So that's why there's probably thousands upon thousands of Johnny Rod guys that you probably ran into and and then there's some top tier ones. And then there's guys that just like Vince Russo got trained by Johnny Rodz.
Vince Russo as a promoter or a wrestler? Because
I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure
as a wrestler.
I'm pretty sure Russo took some bumps from Johnny because Johnny makes everybody takes those bumps. So there was a guy there when I was last at Johnny's that's trying to become a referee, and you got to come in there, you got to bump. The commentator wants to be trained to be a commentator. You had to get in there, take some bumps.
You got to go through the motions. You got to go through the motions if you want to make it, right? I guess.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure Vince Russo is no exception to that. I'm pretty sure.
Vince Russo's birthday today. We wished him happy birthday on Twitter.
Happy birthday!
You know what?
Happy birthday.
Honestly, he gets a lot of hate, I find, but to me, he you know what? He gave us something that we never had before, and you know what? Like I said, I'm just a podcaster, but to make TV every week, I'm sure it's not an easy task. So you know what? Kudos to him. So
yeah, I mean, he's one of the people. Of course, I don't personally know him, but he's one of the people I personally look up to in the business.
For sure.
I grew up on the Attitude Era and DX, and knowing and studying the business, knowing he had a huge part in that. Even to the part of just letting wrestlers have their own freedom and calling them and saying, "Hey, what do you want to do this week?" That's something that probably wasn't going on at that time, and he was one of those guys that was like the forefathers of it. So much respect to Vince Russo.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because you know what, like as much as the product is now what we're seeing on TV, I would love to see the Attitude Era come back in some kind of form, but realistically, I don't think we'll ever be able to see it again. So
I mean, like that's one of my goals as a professional wrestler. To bring back not just to bring back the Attitude Era. I mean that's organic. That's something you can't do twice.
Exactly.
But I want to bring back that fandom and that craze. I want to be a big part of it. Want to be one of the core cogs and bringing back mainstream media into full effect into professional wrestling and have everybody in school doing stunners again,
I'm sure you told a teacher or two to go suck it, or a stone cold stunner to your friend there that told you to F off or something, because I was like that too with my friends. So I'm sure we're in the same class, you know what I mean? So
I grew up in a house, a single mother, so it was just her. So I gave her a couple headaches just off for wrestling back in the day. That's for sure.
I can imagine. So you wrestle now with the world of unpredictable wrestling. Can you tell us? Because I'm not too familiar with that federation, but can you tell our fans what to expect and maybe go check them out once everything restarts again?
So. Little bit of I guess you could say breaking news for me. No one knows this. I haven't announced this anywhere. I haven't told anyone.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Very, very close friends are the only ones to know. As of right now, officially, I'm no longer with WW.
Oh,
I am pursuing the independent scene
okay,
in New York. Johnny has very, very tight rules. You can't go out and do other shows when you are a Johnny Rodz guy.
okay, okay,
You have to stay there. You have to train there. You have to do nothing but his shows.
okay.
And if there is no falling out, I have no ill will towards Johnny. Um, WW is in a different place. They're like in a rebuild phase with Gleason's
Is that
gym.
in New York as well?
Yeah, it's in
Okay,
Brooklyn, New York.
that's in
It's in
Brooklyn, New
the
York. Okay,
world famous Gleason's boxing gym where
okay.
Tyson,
Oh
Ali, all those
wow,
guys trained at.
wow.
It's a storied place to be. It's a
Okay,
place where you go in and you feel the history, and then
of
you know the
course,
history about
of
the
course.
ECW guys. And that is a great place to go and learn how to be a professional wrestler. And I'm just in a different stage of my career where I need to become a professional
Yeah.
wrestler, and I need to get my name out there and get to know everybody, get to know guys like you, and lock up with
Well,
hundreds of
that's the
different people.
respect value that that you show right now, because a lot of people in the independent scene that I have figured out throughout the year that I've been doing podcasting, it's a ruthless game out there, and a
Yeah,
lot and you know what, like here in Canada, Canadians are not allowed to go wrestle in the United States. You need a green card, you need the whole 9 yards and everything. But a lot of these Canadian wrestlers that are in WWE right now did it illegally to get noticed, and now that's why they're big players in the
yeah.
United States. You know what I mean? So just to say, it's like we have a guy here, and I think I watched an interview that you were on, and you said that you've watched a lot of Kevin Steen and El Generico matches.
Yeah, so Kevin Steen is
Kevin Owens, for the people that don't
Kevin
know him, yeah,
Owens. He's a huge inspiration for me.
yeah,
That guy inspired me to become a wrestler. Watching him in all those final battles,
yeah.
the matches he had with Generico
Oh.
were amazing. Just his PWG stuff was
Yeah,
out of the world,
yeah,
and his ROH stuff is, whew.
yeah,
But he's a guy that I have high respect for.
yeah.
Um,
Hustler. He's a
grew up
hustler.
yeah. He hustled every bit of it, every bit of the way. It took him 15 years to get to the big stage,
Exactly, exactly.
and he's one of those guys that shows you if you keep your heart in it and you keep pushing and you keep pulling, it'll come true. It's just about not letting go and giving up, you know.
Well, I for us here in Montreal, he started in the IWS. It's a wrestling independent scene federation here that we have here in Montreal. And I don't know if you know Jeremy Prophet as well.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
part of the IWS as well. He's part of the Jofo In The Ring team, and he's
Oh,
in
it's
the
awesome.
same boat as Kevin Owens right now. That he still hasn't made it, but
Yeah,
we're trying our hardest here at Jofo In The Ring in Montreal, in Canada, to get him on that big stage, because it's those little things that if it was up to his talent, maybe he'd be able to wrestle in these big promotions. But because he's Canadian, he just strikes out every time, you know. So it's kind of sucks. But you never wrestled Jeremy Prophet, but you know of him?
yeah. I know of him. Especially through you guys. I've
Okay,
been following you guys for a little bit.
great,
Saw a
great.
lot of his stuff, a lot of promotions that you guys put out for
Yeah,
him, and it's a hustle for every
it's
single
a
one of
hustle.
us.
Yeah, it's
It's
a
a
hustle.
hustle, and it's just something that we got to stick with it. I have huge respect for Canadian wrestling and the history that Canada has put into the wrestling business.
That's for sure.
Canada is a huge integral part into the wrestling business, and I have nothing but profound respect for Canada and the things that Canada has contributed into professional wrestling. It started all the way back from Pat Patterson right there in Montreal. So that
Yeah,
a huge respect to you guys. And anyone hustling out there and trying to get into the game, it's tougher than just being in the States. You know, once you're in the States, it's a different story. When
yeah.
the States is a lot of who you know and what friend knows who and
That's what
trying to
we're
network.
figuring out here slowly. And even Jeremy's been preaching about this every time. It's the who you know
Yeah,
and what have you done for me lately kind of thing, you know. So
yeah,
but you
yeah,
just have to, like you said, like for yourself, you keep grinding. You got to keep going. Jeremy's the same thing, you know. So it's just your time is gonna come, and if you're just continuing to push for that brass ring that everybody says they want, you know what I mean? It's gonna come. You know what I mean? Hard work does pay
yeah,
off. And
yeah.
we've had a guy on our show a couple months ago, Danny Limelight, just for
Mm,
example. and just to see where he is at right now from where he was before.
That's the guy that's doing some AEW stuff now, right?
Exactly. And he fought Kenny Omega on the main event of I don't think it was the main event, but it was on AEW Dynamite. It was his first match.
Yeah.
He fought Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So just to say that it comes full swing, you know. So I'm sure. Is there? Do you know any of the guys in AEW right now, or the WWE, the NXT?
Karen Q. Karen Q. She's in NXT. I trained with her a lot towards before she got signed. Bobby Lashley, I rubbed elbows with him in the ring, and he was a good friend for me for a while. There's a couple guys in AEW that do the dark that I rub elbows with, but none personal.
Okay.
But respect to each and every one of them, man. And I can't wait to get up there and make some noise, you know.
I just want to take 1 second to remind you that 102 Saint Jean-Baptiste Boulevard, Local 52 in Chateauguay, Balboa Bakery. Go the distance with Balboa Bakery for all your big good needs. Cannolis to die for. Just mention Jofo in the Ring when you get there and go say hi to the cannoli boss at Balboa Bakery. Go the distance with Balboa Bakery. Yeah. Okay, so we have a question here, and it's when New York City is fully open, like before COVID, how many indie shows a month on average is there around the city of New York?
Oh man, there's I would say at least 2 every weekend. So on a minimum about 8 shows a month.
Wow.
And that's on a minimum, and you have a bunch of little promotions out here. There's so many to name. You got ACW, ECPW.
Are you aware with Catalyst Wrestling?
I have heard of Catalyst Wrestling.
Okay. I know that's out of New York as well, so I've been following them here and there. So
yeah, I wouldn't mind doing some work with Catalyst Wrestling either.
They got some great wrestlers there too, Colby Carino and Homicide and the Rep. I really like the Rep too. Dave McCall and Nate Carter. You got some great wrestlers, but like you said before, but there's no fans. It's that feeling, you know, like you need that fan feel, you know. So.
Yeah, I got a question. Yeah. If you were able to fight in Catalyst, is there anyone on the roster that you think you would have a good match with?
Oh, that's very interesting. I mean, I gotta go with those top 2 guys, either Colby or Homicide.
Yeah, they had a great match, man. Colby just became the Catalyst champion. Congratulations.
Yeah. Big props out to Colby. Following his pops.
Yeah.
And Homicide is a legend.
Yeah. Yeah,
Homicide is one of those guys that
Homicide has been around the block, like he's been. You know, it's not. Some people might think it's a bad thing, but to me, it's like, you know what? Like if everybody knows who you are and you're very respected throughout the industry, hey man, like if you go from here to there, why not? You know, like
exactly. Really... And he's made his stamp, especially in the Northeast.
Yeah,
and in the wrestling business, like everybody remembers LAX.
Yeah,
everybody knows of LAX and TNA. They had a hell of a run out there with Conan.
Yeah,
and just Homicide. Homicide's a legend. I would love to get in the ring with Homicide.
Maybe we can make it happen someday. We'll see. We'll see if Homicide's listening. Because I know some of the Catalyst guys listen, so maybe they could pass the message on to Homicide that PJ Savage wants a piece of you, Homicide.
Look, and the type of person I am, I'm not skipping any lines, you know. So I'm the guy that I'll put myself on the bottom of the ladder and I will work my way up to the top.
I like that.
So that's just who I am. Wherever I am at, whatever promotion I step into, I'm gonna put myself at the bottom of the ladder and I'm gonna step on everybody's head till I get to the top. That's just how it goes.
So we have the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend. Do you have any favorites? Let's go with the men first, and we'll go with the women next. If you have any favorites to win this year's Royal Rumble.
This year's just been so odd.
Yeah.
Just the whole fans thing too. It affects WWE, so it's just like it doesn't even feel like WrestleMania season.
No, it doesn't at all. It doesn't at all, because I think we went through this last year somewhat with that WrestleMania. Feel like, oh my God, we might not have fans here. And now it's going to happen again. So it's like, wow, what's going to happen here?
And I feel like there's people in WWE that know it too.
Yeah.
And if I got to go with a prediction, I feel like WWE they're always either go big or go home. And I know probably every single person is going to hate me for saying this, but I think the winner of the Royal Rumble is going to be Brock Lesnar.
Yes, that's my pick as well. Because you know what? It's the easy pick. It's you know what? We know what's gonna happen if we make Brock Lesnar win. So let's just do it. And you know what? It's gonna piss off. You know what? I don't think it'll piss off more people than it did when Goldberg came back, though.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
Yeah,
a lot of respect to Goldberg and his storied career, but the fans just
it's weird because you know what? The guy was an idol, like he was the best in the world at WCW, regardless if he didn't wrestle 15, 20-minute matches. But I think the first thing that happened that ruined him was as soon as he took a mic in his hand and he started talking. I think that was it for him, because I think a lot of people respect the talkers now in this generation of wrestling now. Like you said, like a Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has got the total package. The guy could go on the mic, he could go on commentating, he could wrestle, he could have a 15-minute match, he could have an Iron Man match, he could have a 5-minute match. That's the total package. But Goldberg,
it's definitely one of the things that I'm priding myself on and learning and crafting and continue to get better is on the mic. Cutting a good promo. It's that can carry you.
Of course.
And I feel like once he grabbed that mic and it fell a little flat right from the start. He's one of those emotional guys too. You could tell that like if it bothers him a little bit, it gets to him. And it looked like he felt that he came off a little flat.
Yeah.
Got to him. And the ending to that Raw was very weird when it ended with the push.
Yeah.
And it just blanked off air.
It just blanked there. Because I think there was something that they missed or Goldberg missed to say, and then Drew McIntyre didn't know what to do. So, you know what I mean? Like, and it's live TV too, right? Like, I don't think that was taped. So if it was live, you know, like I'm pretty sure you've done a lot of live shows. So just being there in a live audience, it's not the same as, okay, you know what, like a movie, you could edit stuff, you know. So maybe give us a little insight about that, about maybe live events, because I know being at a live event is a lot different than being at a taped event as well.
Yeah, it's completely different. When I was with Johnny, we used to do a weekly show called Flash on YouTube. Okay. I think there was only 8 episodes, and then the pandemic hit.
Okay.
You could go check that out. I did a lot of work on there. I think I have 2 or 3 matches on there and tons of promos on there.
Great.
But those tape shows, we used to tape them like every Thursday, meet up, tape 2-3 weeks of matches. And of course, it's still a training school, so half the matches probably didn't even go up.
Okay.
But being taped, it's completely different.
Yeah.
It's hard to get that feel of like, all right, here it goes. Time to be savage.
Especially with no fans as well, right? Like,
man, we tried to put the wrestlers around the ring, and it still wasn't the same. Sometimes you'd have the guy behind the camera going, "Hey guys, come on, get into it." And it's like, you can't force that. You can't force
exactly, because like the WWE is doing, they're forcing the crowd noise in there. So it's like, are you telling me to like this guy, or are you telling me to hate this guy? That's not how it should be. Because the way we grew up is, if I respect, like a guy like Kevin Owens, what got me with him is the way he talked. Got me intrigued. I saw a match with him, the one with John Cena. I'm like, wow, who is this guy?
That was it right there.
And I found out he's literally like about half an hour away from me from where I live.
Insane.
And Sami Zayn is even closer to me. So I'm like, wow. I'm like, some great Montreal, Quebec guys here. I'm like, wow, this is great. But I would love to see a match with you and Kevin Owens, but we'll see in the future. You never know what can happen in the future.
I mean, you could name every guy in the business that you would want to face.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens is my dream match, just because of how he inspired me to become a professional wrestler. But if I had to choose one guy that would be the dream match, it would definitely be Roman.
Ooh.
Just because I'm the type of guy that look, I'm not. Everybody knows this. If you know me, you know this.
Okay.
I'm not the guy that's going to stab you in the back.
Okay.
I'm the guy that's going to punch you in the face. No, like, you're the big dog. Yeah, this is your yard. Okay, great. I'm here now. What can we do about this? You know, like, I'll come up to you very polite, but it's not going to be polite in the ring once it gets going.
Yeah. You're not going to go. You're not going to tell. You're going to say how it is in the end.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's going to know my intentions, and I'm going to get there the right way, and it's going to be hard for you to stop me. But
and for the women, do you have a pick for the women's Royal Rumble?
The women's one. The easy choice would be Becky, but I don't know if she is coming back.
She might be. There's, you know what? I have a feeling they need something to give that surprise factor for the women's, right? So
Definitely.
I'm thinking maybe her would make sense, but I think me personally, I think Bailey's had a great year. And maybe to thank her for that great year that she gave to the WWE fans and the WWE, maybe giving her the Royal Rumble win, because I know that Charlotte has won it, right?
Yeah, Charlotte's won it. Becky's won it. Asuka.
So then to give it to Bailey, and then maybe next year, 2 years from now, you'd give it to Sasha Banks. So all 4 horsewomen have it. Make a great WrestleMania main event right there, because at least you know that all 4 of them have won. But thinking about WrestleManias here, hopefully, I know this year there's not going to be any fans, but the one I think next year that's going to be in.
Didn't they just announce this week they're going to be in Tampa, Florida?
But there's not it's not going to be a full house. It's not going to be a full house.
No. But I think they're doing that so they could have fans like AEW is doing in Florida.
Yeah. I think they're definitely
going to be some people.
There's going to be some people, but in a stadium that you could fit 80,000 people and there's 10,000 people, it doesn't feel like a WrestleMania to me, you know? So
they'll say the noise goes straight up because you're in that outside arena.
But that's what it is too, right? And I remember one time Edge, they had a WrestleMania. I forget which arena it was in, and they said that it was a packed house, 25,000 people in that arena, and then they fought in a stadium of 75,000. They felt like the people in the 75,000, the stadium, it didn't sound as loud as the arena, but people don't know that the sound it travels, and I'm sure that enthusiasm of wrestling in a stadium must be amazing. But what I would want is that crowd noise. Is that you won't be able to hear yourself, you know?
As a wrestler, you feed off that noise. Like it doesn't matter. I know when I wrestle in Gleason's, there's probably 200 people inside there.
Okay.
And it feels like I'm in a crowd of 10,000 when they get going and you feel it rumbling. You feed off of every ounce of that. So if I had to choose, of course, you're going to choose that stadium, but
exactly.
You do want to feel every single bit of it.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick a winner to the Women's Royal Rumble, I think my pick would definitely go to Rhea Ripley. Because of what they did with her last year, losing to Charlotte. I do think they do kind of book in long-term factors. So
it's crazy because you know what? Like the 4 horsewomen, they all came from NXT. Now you just named another NXT is under the radar. Like, you know what? Okay, they're losing to AEW in the ratings. Fine. It doesn't matter. But to me, wrestling wise, if I want to watch a great wrestling match, I'm watching NXT. I'm watching NXT. I love AEW. Don't get me wrong, but NXT's got the best wrestling on the program right now. And
for me, it's NXT in Japan. Those are if I want to see a match, I'm going there. My only small knock on AEW when it comes to their matches, it just feels like every match is 25 minutes. And
every match is 25 minutes, and every match is like it's like the Cirque du Soleil. You know what I mean? Like every match doesn't have to be like that, you know. But I don't know. Maybe they know more than me. I don't know. I guess they know what they're doing. So you know what I mean? But I'm sure they're not taking advice from me. But you know what I mean? But they're doing something right. So I guess I gotta give them props for that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things. After you see that first match, you're kind of burnt out. I know when I watch New Japan and I watch that first match that really gets me, it's always the Shingo Takahashi match. When I watch Shingo go, he usually puts on one hell of a show, and then after that, I'm burnt out. I can't watch Ibushi go 45 minutes now. I can't do it. It's hard.
I think that's one of my dreams too. I'd love to walk into that Tokyo Dome. Dome. Oh my God. I've walked into Madison Square Garden for a hockey game, not for a wrestling event, but it's basically, they always say it's the equivalent of the Madison Square Garden in New York to Tokyo Dome, right?
Yeah. It's different. There's 3 places in the world that I want to wrestle. Tokyo Dome for sure, Madison Square Garden, and the Cow Palace.
Wow.
Just because it's still
Cow Palace is where? Can you? I am not too familiar.
It's in LA. It's just
in LA. Okay.
Yeah, it's like the West Side version of Madison Square Garden. There in the old days. New Japan did a show there about 2 years ago.
Okay.
When it came to the States, it was when Bullet Club turned on Kenny Omega and they created the Fire.
Okay, that was there. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, that was at the Cow Palace. Okay. It's just a storied place. I love history. I'm a historian of the wrestling business.
I could tell. Yeah, I could tell.
Just being around that would be great. But definitely definitely just Tokyo Dome is close to being number one.
If there was a Hall of Famer out there that you would like to wrestle, who would it be?
Oh, wow. That is a great question.
Besides Johnny Rodz, but I'm sure you've got in the ring with Johnny Rodz millions of times in the training.
Are we talking like pulling him into his prime?
Whatever you want.
I mean, there's that. I mean, the only guy that comes to mind for me is two guys: is Ric Flair and Dusty.
Oh,
those two guys
right there.
Those two guys in their prime. Just to go with Ric Flair and do those hour Broadways and to learn from that and to feed off that. I mean, Ric Flair made guys, man. He made Luger, he made Sting.
Yeah.
Those feuds he had with them, the Steamboat feuds are I don't think they're matched. They're amazing.
Ric Flair might literally just go down as the greatest of all time. You know, like it's debatable, but he's in the conversation. That's for sure.
I mean, you hear a lot of the wrestlers say it, like Flair's the greatest, but the greatest in-ring guy is probably Shawn.
Yeah.
And the greatest seller is Austin.
Yeah.
Like those three guys right there. That's the Mount Rushmore.
We were so lucky to have this kind of wrestling. Hey, it's crazy. Eh? And then a lot of people are like, oh, but you still watch wrestling? But who's there? Is The Rock there? No. Stone Cold? No.
No.
Well, we see Hulk Hogan sometimes, but you know, like, other than that, you know. So I guess like, and then a lot of people that I know like are just getting into the AEW scene. You know what I mean? Like they're not, because everyone when they think wrestling, they think WWE. So what is this AEW? I'm not gonna watch this, but it's how I was at the beginning too, and I'm really liking the AEW product, but like I said, things could happen that, you know what, maybe one day they give you a call, or, you know, like it all depends. It all depends, but you got to keep grinding.
I mean, the one place, I mean, Impact's doing some pretty cool stuff too.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know how the whole AEW thing is going to work out, whether they're merging or not, but one of the places I would love to throw my hat in, and I've seen a Prophet, you guys put it out there, you want to see him in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I want to wrestle there so bad.
They got some great wrestlers there too. I mean, I think it's just the back end of Ring of Honor is not working out, because
I don't know.
To me, they were a great company until things happen, and then after that, the pandemic really put them in the pits after, it's in the trash. It's like, wow, it's like, what happened here? But you know, like I said, like you never, like maybe they're just waiting for that perfect time to come out in a coming out party or something. But it's very intriguing.
And one of the things about that whole idea about Ring of Honor is I feel like they have that fan base, that hardcore fan base that will be with them no matter what. Like, and all the guys that
they will come back too. Yeah.
All their fans are watching AEW and NXT right now, because that's where they're all at in New Japan. But if ROH got hot again and you had somebody set that main event scene on fire,
of course,
those fans will come back and they will come out in droves.
Yeah.
And that would be a fan base that set the world on fire.
Yeah, that's for sure. So you said Rhea Ripley, eh? So okay. So you go Rhea Ripley, I'll go Bailey, and then you said Brock Lesnar. We're both in connection with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, but we're definitely in connection with Brock.
For me, if Brock Lesnar doesn't win, for me, I really hope Bobby Lashley would win it, because he's had a great year as well. And I think it's like give the wrestlers that have done well, like I said before, give them that satisfaction to say, hey, we're giving you this. Like Drew McIntyre was literally getting hot right before the Rumble. So it's like they gave him like that present, like, here you go. Let's see what you could do with it. And I think Bobby Lashley's been waiting for this moment.
He's been gearing up. You can tell that they're doing something with him, definitely. Yeah. And a sleeper pick, I think, is kind of like everybody's like small sleeper pick is Keith Lee. If anyone could be small. But
I think they're gonna wait on that, because if they give us what we want right away, then what? You know what I mean? Then
he'll definitely be in the final four.
Yeah.
I think you see Keith in the final four, and maybe like a Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman,
he's been off the map for a while.
He's been off the map, but I don't know if you've been checking out his pictures on Instagram and Twitter. This guy looks like a shredded beast.
Yeah,
he's killer.
He's insane now.
Unbelievable. And you know what? Now. And I know Vince McMahon loves guys like that. He loves the guys that look like Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior. And if you come in like that, like Drew McIntyre did the same thing, but like I said, I don't know why this Bobby Lashley, it's not happening for him, because he's got the look.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he doesn't have the mic skills, but he's got MVP next to him for that.
Yeah. And MVP has been the MVP.
Yes.
He is, what he's done for Cedric.
Yeah.
What he's done for Shelton.
Yeah.
Bobby didn't really need the rub, but Bobby got even more of a rub coming out of that Lana storyline.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people hated it, and MVP kind of saved them from it.
Yeah. Thank God.
So what MVP's done has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Bobby has been that, like, he's that guy, you know? So, I mean, I got a lot of respect for Bobby. He's one of the guys that I remember CM Punk said when he was on the Indies and he was coming up, he wrestled Eddie Guerrero. And that was his moment of like, wow, I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because before the match, it's like, oh, man, I don't know if I can wrestle him.
Yeah.
And I remember the day I was wrestling Bobby, I walked into the arena that day and I was scared, man.
It's that intimidation factor. It's like, I'm fighting Bobby Lashley. And imagine, it's like, who is this? Imagine you never knew who Bobby Lashley was, and you never seen him on a picture. I'm like, okay, it's just another guy. And then you walk in there like, holy shit.
Man. It was crazy, man. And I remember just walking in and being like, oh man, here comes Bobby. I knew I was working him that night. And I hear him go, who's this Savage kid? Like, it's me, brother. It's me. And just working with him was phenomenal. And it was interesting because it was right before he was going back to WWE.
Oh, wow.
Literally 2 months later, he was going to WWE. I was kind of like his last stop.
Wow.
And it was like, all right, I got to make this go. And the best thing he told me was after our match, we were in the back and we have this face off at the beginning of the match.
Okay.
And the crowd goes, oh, like they want to see it.
Yeah.
Like that's the first time in a very long time that he's went face to face with somebody on the indie scene and they didn't chant Bobby's gonna kill you.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh, thank you. Like it was props.
It just goes to show how a long way you've come then, you know. So that's good for you, man.
It's kind of the way you got to carry yourself in the ring. I remember when he came to the curtain, I didn't let go of his eyes. I was like, you're gonna look at me this whole time. I'm gonna make you feel me. Yeah, exactly. But I got huge respect for Bobby, and if he was to win the Rumble, that would be amazing.
It would be amazing.
He's the guy that deserves it. He's worked his butt off.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to for the like I know we talked about it before, but is there anything like you are looking forward to in the coming months, like with this pandemic and everything? Are you wrestling right now in this pandemic, or I know you're training and everything, but
yeah, I train every week. And right now there's kind of no shows.
No, that's it.
But there is stuff. I can't put it out there yet, but there is stuff lined up.
Okay.
Basically after March, essentially. So that's when I'll be making my New York independent scene debut.
Okay, so you know what? Then I'm gonna come looking for you in March to get that exclusive where you're going, because like I said, with a name like Savage, you can't go wrong. That's for sure. And I can't wait to see you somewhere, because I love the name. I love the name. I just love
Thank
the
you.
name.
I appreciate it.
I just love the name.
It's a weird thing trying to find, like, anybody could call themselves Savage.
Exactly.
Savage, Jason Savage, DJ Savage. Like, you can do it. It's gonna work. It sounds cool. And a funny way how I got the name was I didn't have a gimmick. I told you Johnny doesn't let you call yourself. He doesn't let you name yourself. So I walk out during the match, and at the time I was, I wasn't that fit, so I was still one of those guys. I was about a year and a half in wearing t-shirts.
Okay.
And I wore a shirt that just said Savage, because that's what everybody was calling me, like as a joke. And I walk out the ring, and Johnny looks at me and goes, "Oh, Savage. I like that. We're gonna call you Savage. Oh, how about Wild Man?" And I said, "Johnny, please, let's stick with Savage."
I like Savage, please. Let's stick with Savage.
Stick with Savage. And it was funny because he doesn't really do like character building, he's all about fundamentals and making you a professional.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
And now I've really gotten into the realm of finding out what is Savage and who is Savage. And
Mm.
basically, if I could give you a quick little glimpse into that,
For sure.
I'm 29 years old, so it's 29 years of heartache, of pain, of grinding. I'm not the guy that gets any opportunities. You know,
You got
I
to
grew
work
up
for
in
your
Harlem.
opportunities. I'm sure you have to work very hard for your opportunities.
Yeah, I grew up in Harlem. Even when I first got to Johnny's, I wasn't the guy. I wasn't supposed to be the guy. I was a good hand, and I worked my butt off, and I was his heavyweight champion for 3 years.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where it's just a lot of grind, a lot of scratching, a lot of clawing, and all that frustration. If you work a 9 to 5 and you want to hit your boss with a chair, live through me.
Yeah.
Live through me, because I'm gonna give you all of that passion coming out on whatever ring I'm in, and that's what PJ Savage is gonna represent.
Well, we know we can't wait to see you in action in 2021. And like I said, once you know where you're going to be going in late March or early March, whenever that is, I'd love to get you back on and just to get you to get everybody to know what's going on with you, because our fan base here in Montreal and on Jofo In The Ring, we were a tight knit group, but we follow the guests that we have on the show, and they're very passionate. We call them the Jofo Mafia. So if you ever see them in your comments or anything, very good people out there. But can you tell us? Sorry.
I said, consider me a member of this Jofo Mafia now.
Great. Can you tell us before we head off, where to find you on social media? I know you have a YouTube page, but if anyone wants to go see any of your matches or an interview or anything, tell them where to find you.
On Twitter and Instagram, it's PJ Savage _
Okay.
On Twitter, I believe it's 2 underscores. And on YouTube, it's PJ Savage. Everything is right now is PJ Savage. And if you're interested in booking, it's PJ Melly Bookings at gmail.com. And you can find that right at the top of my Instagram page and my Twitter page. I'm on all social medias. I'm friendly. I talk to everyone. Find me there, and I got a lot of stuff coming in the future. I look forward to showing the world what Savage really is.
We can't wait to see that. Like I said, once you get the okay to tell us where you're going to be going, like I said, the door is always open here at Jofo In The Ring, so you're always welcome back, and you could always come back and tell us how things are going. And like I said, it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. And if I could just say one last thing,
go for it, buddy.
It would definitely be to all the podcasters out there, guys like you, Jofo, Dirty Heels. There's a bunch of them out there that are doing this, and you guys right now in this pandemic are giving independent guys like me and countless many others a platform to keep it going, and to really drill home that we're the forgotten ones right now, and
that's exactly it. It's sad to say, but it is that. And you know what, like you said, like these podcasters out there in Canada and the US, you have to give them a lot of respect, because you know what, like if it wasn't, like, not to say, if it wasn't for these podcasts, a lot of these people wouldn't be recognized, you know what I mean? And it's a shame, because there's a lot of great talent out there, so.
The podcasters are not just a small part of the business. You guys are an intricate part of the business now, and it's huge respect to each and every one of you. Thank you for having me on this platform. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Canada. I can't wait to wrestle there.
Perfect.
And there you have it. Thank you to PJ Savage for coming on the Jofo In The Ring podcast. And since this was my first interview of 2021, I got some big news for the Jofo In The Ring podcast fans. Big changes are coming to Jofo In The Ring. We are moving to a brand new night for our episodes, Jofo In The Ring podcast, starting February 2nd, 2021. And the first guest we will be having in February on Tuesday, 7 p.m. is the ECW legend, Sabu. I cannot wait for that one. February 2nd, 2021. And for those nostalgic fans out there, if you remember, get aboard the whole train. Yes, we got the Godfather as well later on this month on the Jofo In The Ring podcast. Stay tuned for the date, and we have a brand new segment starting on the Jofo In The Ring podcast. The Harbinger of Truth, Jeremy Prophet, on the Moment of Truth. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a moment of truth. I am your host, Jeremy Prophet, aka the Harbinger of Truth. But I'm not here to bore you with pleasantries because I got something that is not so much something that I want to say, but it's something that needs to be said. And that pertains to this right here, the great country of Canada. But the fact that so many great Canadian talents are not getting the opportunities that they should be getting. Moreover, they're not getting the same opportunities that our brothers to the south get on a nearly daily basis. Most of you out there, you probably don't know the hurdles that we have to overcome to get any kind of notoriety or to make it anywhere in this business. But it's pretty simple. Despite the fact that our country is located just adjacent to the United States of America, our talent is not permitted to go and perform on a stage in the United States of America, therefore creating a bit of an unlevel playing field where we have to be twice as good and 10 times as great as the next person to get any kind of notoriety behind us. It makes me think, when was the last time we heard of something like that? To me, something like Jackie Robinson comes to mind in baseball, where he had to be the best of the Negro leagues just to be able to make it into the major leagues. But nowadays, you got companies that'll simply turn a blind eye to us until we make a lot of noise, get a lot of buzz, get a lot of hype. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to do here, is shed some light, and most importantly, some truth onto that issue. You may say I have my facts crossed. You may say that, that's not the way it is. Well, let's actually look at the facts. You got a company, top-level company, like MLW. One Canadian on the roster. Hey, Alicia, how you doing? You got a company like Ring of Honor. One Canadian on the roster, and I know him very well. Pierre-Carl Ouellet, PCO. Top companies, loaded with great talent, of which they're missing talent from their neighbors to the north. You got companies like Impact, not too bad. About 6 or 7 talents on the roster from the Great White North. You got 2 executives in Power. They could do a lot to get more people in there, get more eyes seen. You're doing a great job. AEW, there are also a handful of Canadians on there, but a lot of these Canadians have made it on their merits south of the border. We don't all have that same luxury, and this is something that we absolutely need to work together to make sure that we can get that same level playing field. Basically, I look at it like this. In the NHL, they'll scout talent in the Czech Republic, in Slovakia, Russia, Scandinavia, in addition to the United States and Canada, to be able to get the best players to have the best team possible. Why can't the same principle apply to professional wrestling? I'm not here to get upset about it, but it is something that is really something that has been weighing heavily on my soul, because I see so many great talents on a week-to-week basis performing their hearts out, doing everything that they should do to be able to make it, and not getting the opportunity. An opportunity is sometimes an opportunity to succeed. It can also be an opportunity to fail. But at the very least, how are you supposed to discover a diamond in the rough if you're not at least going out there and plumbing the fields? This could apply to anywhere. I'm not saying that Canada is the best talent in the world, or Canada is the country that produces the best talent in the world. Maybe it's another country. Maybe it's Russia. Maybe it's Germany. Maybe it's Australia. Who knows? But the fact is, if you look at proximity, there are parts of Canada that are a lot closer to the main areas of wrestling, like Jacksonville, like Stamford, where it would be much closer to look at talent nearby than it would be, let's say, if you got talent from, I don't know, Southern California or Washington State. Despite the fact that we have this same proximity, we unfortunately aren't allowed to go and perform, make connections, show people we can hang with the best. And even worse, people from here hold themselves down as if there's some inferiority complex, like we can't compete with the best that we see on TV every week. Now, being on TV doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best. It just means that you were in the right place at the right time with the right amount of talent. It's unfortunate that a lot of good talent are kind of like trees in the forest that fall and no one's there to hear it, because it really doesn't matter what you do if no one knows who you are. So I'm just trying to connect the dots for all of you out there and say that we need more opportunities and we need to make a lot more noise about it. Anytime you see my face in an interview, that is my crusade, and that is the message I want to get across to everybody. So regardless of what you think of the messenger, the message stays the same. There are people that can change this. There are Canadians who have gone through this struggle in every one of the major companies out there, and they can shed light on this to help their brethren, to help the next generation, to help guys like me who are going to continue working and grinding and perfecting their hustle to be able to be that marquee player. But if that opportunity isn't going to present itself, it'll all be for naught, not just for me, but for an entire generation, until those who are there decide to look back at those that are following in their footsteps and helping to make the path a little bit more smoother for them. I don't want to take too much of your time here, people, because I am getting a little long-winded, but it's something that I'm passionate about. But the way I see it, it's kind of like 50 Cent. When nobody wanted to sign him, he had to take matters into his own hands and be undeniable and go after as many people as he could till somebody would listen, till his Dr. Dre and Eminem would come along. So I've always said I'm kind of like the 50 Cent of Canadian wrestling. I'm going to go after as many people as I can till this falls on a set of non-deaf ears so that they can finally see the talent that we have here. And believe me, I'm just the run of the litter. I'm just someone with a lot of talk, with a good amount of talent, but with a lot of heart and with the guts to actually speak out about this. Believe me, there are many, many, many great talents just waiting to be discovered, and they can be your future main eventers. They can be your future champions. They can be your future Hall of Famers. Just give us the opportunity. Give us a level playing field, and let us show you what we have to offer. Canada's a great country. Canadian wrestling has been a staple of the professional wrestling industry pretty much since the dawn of time. We can't let this great culture and these great talents just go extinct. So whoever may be listening, if you think you can help, I'm not a hard guy to find, but I think if we all band together, there's no way we can be denied. You know the issues. You know what needs to be done. Unfortunately, some people just can't handle the truth, but it ain't going to stop me from speaking it. I am Jeremy Prophet, the harbinger of truth. You can see me every week on Jofo In The Ring, and I will not stop fighting so long as this heart is beating. And I thank you for your time.
Wow, what a great episode we just witnessed here with PJ Savage. Follow him on all social media platforms, Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget, we want to thank all the Jofo Mafia members in the Discord, on social media, all around the world. We want to thank you for their support. And as always, follow us on Instagram at Jofo In The Ring, Facebook page at Jofo In The Ring. So tell your friends, subscribe, and remember, kids, wrestling is life.